Hi, hello, welcome. It's been a minute since I've done one of these. If you're new to this space, welcome. My name is Liliana. And I used to do, some of you may be familiar with the Spirit Message Mondays. And that's what this is, but it's going to be for the weekend. So I'm going to be pulling a couple cards, channeling messages from my guides specifically for this weekend, because I don't know, if you're like me, or you may be finding yourself in a an emotional place like I am right now, where, today the 14th feels weighted, it's just feeling the feelings and, yeah. So, and I always like share with folks and like clients that I work with and with my beautiful community over the Cosmic Cusp, feeling feelings is a beautiful practice of wellness for ourselves. It's a practice of accountability, of healing, of growth, and it takes work. It takes commitment, it takes presence, but part of feeling our feelings isn't just simply to feel the emotion, right? And I also want to say that depending on what you're feeling, obviously we all have very lived experiences, very different lives, and different privileges. And so to simply say, just feel your feelings, that's not what I'm implying here. To feel our feelings is more than just feeling the emotion, at least in my opinion. The way that I practice feeling feelings and what I share with folks and how my guides have shared with me to, have shown me how to practice this is by, yes, we acknowledge the emotion that we are experiencing. And we then listen with our inner ear, with our intuitive bodies, our feeling, sense of sensation, physical, feeling, physical feeling, emotional feeling, how that is experienced within the body in that moment. So let's say you're experiencing joy or fear. How does that take up space in your physical form? What does it feel like in your physical form? So maybe what you're feeling, joy or fear, may also be experienced as scarcity or as love. And so we do the process of digging. And so to feel our feelings, we are practicing self-awareness, presence, and acknowledging everything, to the best of our ability, that is coming up or that is associated with said feeling or feels. Obviously, we do this at a pace that feels supportive for us when we feel able to do so, because to feel feelings when we're not in a space to do that can also be harmful, just as harmful as it can be just as supportive. And so anyway, with the full moon coming up and I woke up this morning just feeling it, and I went through the magical guide that I create in collaboration with my guides for every month for the Cosmic Cusp. And I practice the work myself. I'm just, that's part of, at least how I view it's like how we practice self accountability as practitioners or as space holders. I'm doing the work too. And so anyway, I did it for myself, and then I thought, let me just pull some cards for the collective, because I feel that I'm not the only one. I know that I'm not the only one that's moving through this right now, and I just want to say it's, there's nothing wrong with you. Do what you need. Pause, breathe, move your body, eat a really fucking good meal that makes you feel fantastic. Wear something that makes you feel sexy. Whatever you're needing, do it if you can, when you can. So let's get to it. That was a very long intro. And you may hear Stella in the background. So I'm just going to be asking my guides, what is it that we need to know for this weekend? And how can we support ourselves? So let's see, we've got 3 cards right there. We have ego. So it's reversed. I've always shared with folks, if you want to acknowledge reversal is beautiful. The way I read, I don't necessarily read in reversal or upright or follow that that theory. I just listen to the card, work with my intuition. But if you do, beautiful. So that's why I'm sharing for folks that do acknowledge reversals or like to acknowledge reversals. This is reversed. Ego is reversed, excuse me. And then we have vulnerability and love. I do want to add that this being the only card that's reversed compared to these, it's not that, whether it be with oracle cards or tarot cards, that the card that's reversed is indicating that it's the opposite of the original theory behind the card. For me, it just feels like, okay, pay attention to this one here, right? Or, whatever, however you choose to read, beautiful, love it. Okay, so again, we have ego, we have vulnerability, and love. So I'm just giving myself a moment to drop in, and we'll begin. This weekend, so many of you are being presented with the challenge, with the invitation, but that is felt as a challenge to face your egos, to face the egos, the faces, the masks that you wear, not for others, but for yourself, of the things that you've been keeping hidden or off to the side that you've been avoiding. You don't have to be strong. You don't have to be the brave one. You don't have to be the one to bear it all. You can take that mask off and lay down beside yourself and open your heart to allow the floods to pour. We want you to remember that this weekend, if you find yourself feeling it all being unbearable, to give yourselves not the permission, but the space to breathe, the space to cry, the space to scream and shout what you are feeling, what you are needing. Because it is in these days where what is needing to be released is coming up to the surface. What is needing to be healed is coming up to the surface. And the way that we can do this is through love. We practice love by showing self-compassion, by showing self-awareness, by showing up for ourselves. We practice love by listening to our fears, by listening to our pains, and allowing them to just be received, to pour out into our hands and pushed away. That was really, I love that message, and I want to share, I'm going to kind of put into my own words what I'm hearing them continuing to say, like adding little bits to this. So this weekend, if you find wherever you may find yourself, but this is specifically for those who may be feeling conflicted by self-expectations, or feeling conflicted, tethered down, weighted down by where you are at emotionally. Your emotions are valid. Your emotions are always valid, okay? They're real. They are yours, that you are experiencing them. But we also need to remember to practice discernment in identifying what it is that we are feeling and letting it breathe, right? Like when we're facing our ego, like when I look at, let me put this a little bit more simply. When we look at ego, vulnerability, and love, so many of us will associate the ego as being something negative, as or being inflated, right? Like the inflated ego, which yes, that's absolutely part of it, but the ego isn't inherently bad or good, negative or positive. The ego just is. It is balanced or it is imbalanced. And to have a balanced ego is to move in alignment with what our needs are, what our boundaries are, and to have self-belief and trust, right? Like we're moving within those concepts and beliefs and practices. When we're in the imbalanced ego, we perhaps may be coming from a place of FOMO, we are coming from a place of reaction versus response, and we are moving with feeling, having our emotions guide us rather than truth or fact, right? And so when we're faced with our egos this weekend, this may be just, okay, what are you feeling? Are you feeling enraged? Are you feeling, discouraged? Are you feeling stuck? So we can either flow with that, run with that feeling, right? And say, okay, this is fact. This is absolutely fact. This is my truth. This is what's happening, etc., etc., etc. Or we can then say, hold on. Okay, I am feeling X, Y, and Z. Why? And we dig, or we simply open up ourselves to vulnerability by saying, I feel X, Y, and Z. This sucks. What do I need from this? We may not have the answers and know why, or again, have the bandwidth to dig as to why or where this emotion is coming from, but we can at least meet it with love. And we can at least allow ourselves to release what is there. Because sometimes, to be honest, we don't have the bandwidth to dig, or we don't need to dig, but we do at least need to move it out of the body in some way or form. And perhaps that's simply screaming it out, like they said, crying, or just pausing where we're at, what we're doing, or the need to dig, and just, I'm going to let myself feel what I'm feeling. And perhaps that's all I need to do to show up for myself. That's all I need to do to release this out of my body, or to shift that emotion into something that is actually truth or supportive. And so to wrap this up here, my dears, is, this weekend, as always, the world these days are trying, but I still do not lose faith, or have not lost faith or hope in humanity and what is possible for this year, for so many of us as a collective and individually. And we have to remember to do it in steps, not in leaps. And, to be vulnerable isn't easy. And I've found that the most supportive way, simplest way for me to be vulnerable with myself is to simply love on myself when I'm feeling most self-critical, when I'm being the hardest on myself. I can still be irritated, I can still be annoyed or feel a way about whatever it may be pertaining me, but I still meet myself with love and acceptance, and that will come in, many different forms. And I want to be clear, I'm not saying like posy vibes only, or just love and light and that's how we're gonna get through the day. No, because if you know me, it's not what I subscribe to. If you do, beautiful, that's cool, but that's not what I'm implying here. Anyway, love y'all, hope you're all doing well. And I do want to share a little tidbit of what has been shared over with the Cosmic Cusp community regarding this new moon, or this coming full moon. What my guides have shared with this full moon is it's going to be a time of release. So use this weekend, hearing this message, use this weekend to just kind of get familiar with what you're feeling. And, if you have the bandwidth to dig, and that can be what we focus on, transmuting, releasing, shifting with this full moon. All right. Bye.